Hey, what's up? This is me, Jbat, and today I'll be doing a review for a graphic novel by Frank Miller, who is the writer of this graphic novel. And it tells the story of Batman, or Bruce Wayne's journey to becoming like Batman. So it's basically like a origin tale, but it's mostly told from the point of view of like James Gordon, who eventually becomes Commissioner Gordon. So he plays like a major role in this graphic novel as well. So this will be my review for Batman Year One, which is written by Frank Miller.
Hey, what's up? It's me, Jbat, and today I will be doing a review for the graphic novel Batman Year One. Now, this graphic novel was written by Frank Miller, and he wrote this back in 1986. Now, like the illustration and all that was done by like David. I don't know how to really pronounce his his name. I think it's Mazzucchelli. Well, his first name is David, and he was like the illustrator. So he actually, I guess, like what you say, drew it, the graphic, like the pictures, like the images that are in it. As you can see, like Batman or whatever. And the colorist was Richmond Lewis, and the lettering was done by Todd Klein. But Frank Miller was the one that actually like wrote the story for Batman Year One. Now this is like an origin tale of Batman, and it doesn't really like fit into any kind of like canon type of way or whatever, because the origin tale of Batman was already told plenty of times throughout, like the history of DC Comics. So basically, this is like a reinterpretation of the origin tale of Batman. Well, in this tale, at the very beginning of the film of the graphic novel, it is told that James Gordon, Jim Gordon, he eventually becomes Commissioner Gordon. He is showing up to Gotham City for the first time in his life, I believe, and it is the month of January, and he's coming to Gotham City on the train, on board the train, and he's coming to become like like the one of the detectives with the police force in Gotham City, and his pregnant wife Barbara is also on the way too. But she's coming she's coming on an airplane because Jim doesn't agree with the idea of coming on a train with him because it's kind of rough. And at the same time, Bruce Wayne is also coming to Gotham City too after a long like hiatus from being in Gotham. He was like somewhere else abroad for like 12 years, and he's arriving in Gotham City on an airplane. But he's been gone from Gotham City for like 12 years. So he's also at the same time returning to Gotham City, but on an airplane instead of a train like Jim Gordon is. So as soon as Gordon touches down in Gotham City on the train, he meets Detective Flash, who then takes him to Commissioner Gillian Loeb. I think his name is Gillian B. Loeb, who is the current commissioner of Gotham City. So Flash introduces him to Loeb. He introduces Gordon to Loeb. Then they meet. Gordon has like a chit chat with Commissioner Loeb. So eventually they agree to meet, and like Loeb basically takes him on the police force. And then Gordon joins Flash. On their first like little trip throughout the city or whatever. And from the moment on, like Gordon, he witnesses like Flash, like doing like corrupt stuff that cops shouldn't be doing. Like Flash, he brutalizes this kid, this young kid. He gets out the car and beats him up or whatever. And that was kind of like corrupt. Like Gordon shouldn't have seen nothing like that. But he keeps it to himself. So he's basically just getting the eye of how corrupt the police force is in Gotham City. After he witnesses Flash beating up a young kid, for like no apparent. Well, he had a reason to it, and it turns out that the kid just had a comb on him and not like a knife or a gun or anything like that. It was just a comb. You know what I'm saying? Now, eventually, like Jim Gordon, like and this story is kind of told mostly from the point of view of Gordon. It's kind of told from the point of view of like Bruce Wayne too at times, but you can tell that it's really like if you really look at it from a whole point of view, it's really Jim Gordon's tale, like on his on his way to becoming Commissioner Gordon. It's really seemed like focused on him. But eventually he settles in into Gotham City with his wife Barbara, and she's pregnant and has like a baby on the way. And at the same time, it goes. What makes it fun and cool is it kind of like goes by month by month by month. It goes from January all the way until like I think it's December. I think it is. It goes like a whole year or whatever. So the story is told over like a course of like 12 months. So eventually, like, you know what I'm saying, Bruce Wayne begins training his body again, like trying to get it into peak condition for what he has planned to do. And then eventually he decides to take a trip to the east end of Gotham City at night. And this is when he has his first encounter with Selina Kyle, you know, who eventually becomes Catwoman. Now, in this story, Selina Kyle is actually a African-American woman, but she has like a light skin tone. Yes, so she's actually she could be considered Latino, but I believe that she's depicted as being like an African-American, which I thought was kind of unique, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like different. But they also did have like a Catwoman film, but it wasn't the Selina Kyle role that Halle Berry played. So I'm saying, so I guess it was kind of, you know, I think that's kind of what that was kind of based on. But Bruce, like, while he's in the east end of Gotham City, he gets into like Bruce gets into like a fight with like a couple of like a thug guy. Well, not a thug, well, thug. I think he was like the pimp of the prostitutes that he had met. Like it was like a prostitute known as like Holly or whatever, and she beats with Selina. And also you can tell that Selina Kyle, you could tell that she's kind of like a lesbian almost, you know what I'm saying? Because she's with this chick named Holly, and you could tell that they're a couple. You could tell they're together, so you can tell basically that they are a lesbian couple, you know. But Bruce gets into like a confrontation with those three, like the guy that's like the pimp, and Holly and Selina, and Holly stabs him in the leg with a knife, and then Selina gets into like a fight with Bruce, but he takes her out, and then the cops show up and then shoot Bruce, like, you know what I'm saying, right in his upper like left chest, and then that's when he, you know what I'm saying, he gets into that. They put him inside the police car, and instead of rushing him to the hospital, they decide to actually, I think, take him to jail. Well, they head in the direction of jail, but then Bruce manages to escape. Then he makes it home all bleeding, all bruised up, you know what I'm saying? Then he eventually a bat crashes through the window, then he eventually decides to become Batman, take on like the mantle of becoming Batman, like the hero of Gotham City. Plus he also has a flashback right before that moment of his parents being, you know, shot and stuff like that, you know, murdered or whatever. Now meanwhile, at the same time that Bruce Wayne is going through his little incident, Jim Gordon is having like a confrontation with Flash. Turns out Flash had him, even though they had got together and set up like a beatdown of Jim Gordon. Then Jim Gordon decides to take revenge on Flash, and he beats him up, you know, real bad. They had like a fight like out in the snow or whatever, and he beats up Flash real bad. So then eventually, like Gordon, so Batman, like after Bruce Wayne becomes Batman for the first time, he takes to the street and starts fighting crime. So like then his vigilante like methods, they begin to grow, and he gets kind of like popular in the city. But people don't know if he's really a hero or is he a vigilante, you know. And at the same time, Gordon has to deal with this new guy called the Batman, you know, because at first they think it's like a joke or whatever, like because he dresses like a bat, you know. And even Flash, Detective Flash, even mentioned that he saw the Batman or whatever. Somebody had giant wings and all that, threw like dark things out of his hand, which were like batarang type things, you know. But Gordon has to deal with that, and at the same time, he's worried about his baby that is on the way, and he hopes that it's a boy, you know, that he had. So he's worried about that too, you know, having the baby coming, you know what I'm saying. Now later on in the story, Batman gets like cornered into like a building, like a building that is due for like demolition. Then the cops they surround him or whatever, and during this fight, it's like explosive like battle, you know, between like the SWAT team and their leader known as Brandon. So Batman has like a confrontation with them, and then eventually he gets down to like no weapons, no gadgets. He has like a few like couple of like gadgets things, you know, but he uses like this like ultrasonic thing like gadget, and it sends in like a swarm of bats, you know what I'm saying, that overtake like the SWAT team, and then Batman can escape. You know what I'm saying? But he was like dangerously wounded in this moment of the story. You know, he got shot and stuff like that. I think he got like shot 2 times, then plus some battling the SWATs and team. You know. Now eventually, as Gordon, as he's still like rising up into the ranks of like being aiming at being, you know, eventually becoming commissioner because of the police force being so corrupt, he automatically suspects that it is Bruce Wayne that is Batman, because he knows about Bruce Wayne being very rich, and and obviously Batman had an arsenal. I mean, he had swarms of bats coming, you know, all that kind of stuff. Even like his gadgets and stuff that he had, you know, were kind of high tech. So this person had to have a lot of money. So he automatically suspects off the bat that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And he's partnered with like a woman known as Detective Essom, and she also suspects that Batman is Bruce Wayne. So eventually, you know, they get into all that, you know what I'm saying? They have like tons of reasons and tons of, you know what I'm saying, like things that point to Bruce Wayne being Batman. It's like it's so obvious that he is, but you know, they decide, you know, somehow to just get out of it, you know, they don't really pursue it no more or whatever. But at the same time, Gordon is also having a relationship with Essom. He eventually develops like a romantic relationship with Essom. And he still has his wife Barbara at home, who has a baby on the way. So he's actually cheating at the same time on his wife. Plus he has to deal with this vigilante known as Batman. And then he has like worries about the baby being born, you know what I'm saying? And then I guess you could say on top of that, even his job, because Gillian Loeb keeps on threatening him, like if he don't take out Batman, you know, like if he don't bring Batman to justice, he will lose his job. So he has all these conflicts, the Batman, the baby being on the way, his romantic relationship, relations with Edson, Detective Edson, which he shouldn't be doing because he's married to Barbara, you know. So he has all these conflicts circulating around him. Now, towards the end of the tale, Selena Kyle becomes Catwoman for the first time. Then she decides to start stealing, you know, to make a profit. She even targets like Falcones, like place, you know, Alberto Falcone, like the gangster or whatever from the Falcones. She even targets him at one point in the story. So eventually, Barbara's baby is born. So like Gordon has a baby, you know what I'm saying, born or what. Now that is kind of like conflicting because you would think that it would be Barbara Gordon who eventually becomes Batgirl, but it's not Batgirl. It's not Barbara. I think it is like a boy or whatever. So I'm saying, so that kind of like, you know, has like conflicts and, you know, cause like the history over that is kind of like convoluted. It changes so much, you know. But yeah, the like various characters that have always been a part of the Batman mythos, they appear in this comic too. You have Alfred, he appears in it. You know what I'm saying? He's heavily in it. You have Gordon, of course, Jim Gordon, you know, he's in it, and eventually he becomes Commissioner Gordon. I don't want to spoil it, but eventually he does become Commissioner Gordon towards the end. You have Selena Kyle's Catwoman, you know, she becomes Catwoman in it, and Harvey Dent becomes, you know, he does become Two-Face, but Harvey Dent plays like a big role in this too. And then you have the Falcone, you know, he is also in it too as well. Like after a while, like Gordon at first he's very bent on bringing Batman to justice, but then he eventually grows to accept Batman because he realized that Batman was saving people, and other things that he did too, you know what I'm saying, makes it more and more obvious as Batman, that Batman is really on the good side. So he eventually grows to accept him, you know. So towards like the end of the story, Batman, you know what I'm saying, the Joker even is mentioned towards the end of the story, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to spoil it or whatever. But yeah, the Batman Year One, it's a good read. I prefer the film because they have like a film adaptation of it. But it's a good read. I enjoy it. What I really liked the most about this though was that the dates, it stays on track with the dates. Like each month something is happening. Like you got January, February, March, all the way to December. There's always something happening over the course of the whole year throughout the story. That's why it's called Batman, you know, Year One. And like it has a very like realistic, like, you know, I mean gritty look to it. Like the drawings for it, which is done by I think David and I think his name was Richmond Lewis. They did and Todd Klein. They did like the artwork and stuff. But Frank Miller actually wrote the story. But it has like a very, you know, like you can see like gritty like look to it. like a very like hardcore, like serious, like tone to it, you know. And there's a lot of Batman action, and you could tell. Now that's another thing I thought was kind of cool about is when Bruce Wayne is first becoming Batman. So that is very interesting, you know. Like if you're a Batman fan, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea of him, like they give him like the origin for what he went through to become Batman. And like his first like moments as Batman, that is kind of like, you know, like cool, you know. But at times it does seem like it's kind of like somewhat dull, you know. But I would recommend it. But it's also a film adaptation of it, and I enjoyed that too. Now that's good because I already have done like a review for Batman Year One, the film adaptation. Now that was good. I really did enjoy that, you know. Now the graphic novel that I have for this is now the story was originally created in 1986. This edition that I had, it has like it has an introduction by Frank Miller and a new illustrator afterward by artist David Mazzucchelli. Like I said, I had trouble mentioning his name. And completing this collection are over like 40 pages of never before seen developmental material, such as like character and layout sketches, you know, script pages, you know, and stuff like that. And this edition I had, this is made in 2000, I think. This is the 2005 edition that I have of Year One. But yeah, I would recommend it, and it's cool. Like if you really sit and like absorb it all, it's a good story. It's pretty good. It could be kind of dull, and not really dull, but I mean it can be kind of like dull and kind of like slow pace at times. But it's still kind of cool, you know. And I like the month, like the date subject matter of like the date, like being like, you know, it's current over the whole year, like January. Each month has like an incident going on. Now to me that was cool. I always thought that was cool. But it does still seem like that this is really Jim Gordon's tale, like on his rise to becoming Commissioner Gordon too as well. It really is. He's really the major character of the story, Jim Gordon. But Batman, it's like a tie. It's like a tie between Jim Gordon and Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, and Jim Gordon eventually becoming Commissioner Gordon. Like I say, but it's really, if you really look at it, it's really Jim Gordon's like tale, you know. So yeah, this is my review for Batman Year One, which is written by Frank Miller, and it's a graphic novel, you know, comic book. And I would recommend it, you know, especially if you're a Batman fan. He's my favorite superhero, you know. So this is my review for Batman Year One. I would recommend reading this. It's a pretty good story.
In the end, Batman Year One, the graphic novel by Frank Miller, it's a great story, you know, an excellent story. I would recommend it. And it has an interesting, you know, origin tale about Bruce Wayne becoming Batman for the first time. And Jim Gordon, or James Gordon, on his way to becoming Commissioner Gordon for the first time, you know. So it has like an interesting take on the Batman origin. I would highly recommend Batman Year One, written by Frank Miller.